Okay, so if time travel, hypothetically, if we are capable of such a thing. I mentioned in my other video how linear time travel works, why it erases you from reality, because you're just going from point A to point B and point B back to point A, so you have to move matter in both directions. It's just that you're vectoring in time, right? But it's not actual time. Time's still linear because it's 1, 2, 3. However, 1 and 3 are the same thing. So whatever you did yesterday, we'll call that 1. Today is 2. I'm going to take a time machine and go to 3. I'm still traveling linearly in time because time is constant. But I'm at a different vector of a perceptive past. And so my matter, my sperm, my egg, is basically erased. So I'm erased. If I am not there tomorrow, right? Yesterday. I'm not there yesterday, if you can isolate from the event. And I'm making this video so we can conceptualize how you could get back, because it's very complicated. So once you get back, you travel back in time, you are isolated in this thing. Now all of a sudden, we get to say when you're the moment of your conception, when your parents are, making you. There's a different sperm and there's a different egg. Okay, well, if you were to then pause it there and then let time resume, you're gonna have a brother or sister, technically. You can go back anywhere you want, you're erased. You're completely erased from every experience, every encounter, anything that happens around other people that you were there when you went back. They are now experiencing, deja vu, essentially, like a ghost of deja vu. They were doing something that you were doing with them, so now you're just gone. You never existed anyway. And the mind will just weed all that out. The mind will compensate for it because, fabricating memories and psychoses and creating delusions, it's all just something that we have learned to overcome naturally because we have an imagination, because our hemispheres are fighting against one another, and the electrical impulses of our neurons are always going to be playing off one neuron versus another, and it can randomize, structuring it, and manipulated by the sun and other stuff. Fine. Gravity is funny. It penetrates everything. How do you get back after you erase yourself? Well, so you go back to when you left, except now your brother had an entire series of life. He had, he experienced basically your life, except now it's his life, because he's the only child if you are an only child, even though those are your parents. Well, traveling back resets the probability, resets all quantum probability. You could try and try and try. You would have to grow young, which is plausible, right? If we can grow old, why can't we grow young? Put somebody in a tube, some tube juice, take all your DNA and reverse it somehow. I don't fucking know. But you grow young. Except now you're linearly growing young, right? You're still growing in this whole overlapping timeline thing. So it's all linear. It's just sort of overlapping. multiverse. It's not multiverse. If anything, it's a gravitational mirage, right? But that's a whole other thing. And you have to get your sperm to be the only sperm to make it to your egg, your mother, from your father. It happened before, maybe it would happen again, would it? You were the best sperm before, why aren't you again? Well, supposedly the same circumstances are playing out. See, you didn't mess with anything leading up until that conception. So you have to replace yourself inside of your father and your mother. Now, what do you do about your brother, your sister? What do you do about that person? Do they replace you? Or are you, as the initial time traveler, left to be a martyr? I mean, essentially, you accept the fact that you are erasing yourself from reality and resetting quantum probability because something so bad happened that necessitates the need for this. And thus, the time traveler erases his need to time travel. So we don't have time travelers because we are successful at this moment in time. But that's not to say in the future, if we can develop the technology, or we already have in 1,000 different other lines, said person has to be selfless and erase themselves as they erase the need. Otherwise, they would repeat the process, right? They would go and replace their brother. They could do this thing and have their normal life too if they wanted to. If they could replace them, their sperm and their egg. Time theory is really fun. I like the imagination of it. And this is why we need freedom of the imagination. I can choose to believe in these things. I could derive a psychosis from them. I could do many things with my brain, right? I mean, how many different possibilities are there for how reality has been created, or what has led us to this point in this time on this fucking earth space? So you can choose any of the above. I like to sit in between the possibilities. And people can call that a disease. The religious literally think intelligence is a disease. So, freedom of the imagination, that's the next Bill of Rights we need. Or maybe I should just write a movie. I haven't thought about that. But there are a lot of storylines that are very similar to true time theory. Now, how the time machine works. Very difficult, right? How do you get all energy every minute and entropically mingled and mixed within all of our molecules throughout our existence, just on Earth, to replace themselves to a prior vector? So energy's 1, you got a minus by 1 equals 0, and then minus by 1 again. So that takes twice the amount. This is going to cause decay because you can only go so far if you could isolate the event, right? What's outside of it? Because you can't do the whole universe or the whole galaxy. If you could do the whole galaxy, wouldn't it take 2 of your galaxies? So the decay rate, I mean, you erase reality everything would fall apart. Because we can't stop decay. I have gray hair. Weird. Looks great. It's fun. I love time day. It's just something to keep my brain busy. That time machine, though, that's an interesting idea. Anything to get me back into physics, right? I love physics, too. Think about all sorts of things. Just too many things. Can't focus. One day to the next, I'm thinking about chronographs, wanting to chronometers, escapements again, thinking about filtration systems, cyclic energy, cyclic mass, and of course physics. And I never get anything done. Jack of all trades, master of none, right? It's because I can't get anything done every single day. I'm thinking about something fucking different. It seems. Sometimes I go on a tangent for a week. I get close. Overstimulated. Think about it all night. I don't fucking sleep. I don't dream. I'm just focused throughout the night. I can stay conscious when I'm asleep sometimes. I'll be... Anyway, enough of me. That's time theory.